My good friends, welcome to Classic Car Custodians. My name is Alec Cartio and I'm the host of these series. About 2.5 years ago, I made my first presentation for a BMW E31 850 CSI. It was a purple or Daytona Violet 850 CSI in Lotus White. At the time, I was talking about my journey leading up to that point where a friend of mine would be trusting me with his prized possession of a one-off individual car in the world, leave it in my possession at my home, have it being filmed, photographed, driven around, and presented for sale on the global market. Now, 2.5 years later, I'm telling you about my journey on how it led for me to be standing next to these beautiful, amazing 850 CSRs from the US market, number 31 and number 107. BMW made 1,510 of these cars for the entire world from 92 to 96. 225 of them found their way to USA. This one on the right has 37,000 miles on it, and the one on the left has 131,000 miles on it. They both belong to my dear friend, Mr. John. He has bought 6 E31s. 3 of them are CSIs, and the other ones are regular 850 6-speeds, amazing, beautiful cars. I was guilty of 4 of them. So you might want to ask why he's letting go of these 2 cars to other custodians. Well, as I mentioned, he has 5 or 6 of them, and it was just too many. They're sitting too long, and he hasn't had them for that much of a time, but it's just that there's a white on red one, a green one, a black one. Talking about the journey that led me here, it's all about the people. It's about the custodians of the cars, friendships that are being made all around the world or all around the country because of these cars. It's really about the owners and the history of the owners and where they've been, what they've done, how they love cars, and how they take care of cars. The cars are pieces of beautiful art that we can drive around and enjoy, but at the end of the day, it's about their owners, their lives, their histories, where they've been and what they do. And that's where I come into the picture. I become that friend with a mutual interest, and I build that bridge, which is a passionate one based on friendship and good people. Enjoy this episode, and I look forward to sending these two great new homes. Custodianship, ownership is everything. CSI 107 has a great history and story to it. It once in a time used to belong to me personally. I bought it directly from the original owner. The car has 131,000 miles on it, but looking at it, you would never in a million years think that it has 130,000 miles on it. When somebody keeps a car in good shape, when somebody performs all the services and repairs when it needs it, that's when a car comes out to looking exactly like it just came out of a factory. The paint is in great condition, the interior is in good condition, the engine is in good condition, the suspension, transmission, exhaust, everything. Why? Because the first owner, myself, and the current owner, Mr. John, we took care of this car. We made sure that it's in good condition in every shape or form. It's about being a custodian of a classic car where you can take pride in your ownership, drive the heck out of it, and still make it look like it just came out of factory. The original owner of this car owned it for 22 or so years. This is the late '94 model. He bought it new from in Northern California, kept it with him all his life, unfortunately, until his passing. And I bought it directly from the widow of the original owner. But when I found this car, obviously it had been sitting for a little while because he had passed away a few years before that. It was dirty and whatnot, a little bit of rough shape, but you could tell the bone structure was there. There was nothing wrong with the car. I just had to bring it up to par to clean it up. because it had been sitting in the garage for a little while. Now that John owns it, he bought CSI 198 white and red from me. So he has too many CSIs, and he asked me to help him send these cars to new Custodians. We're going to be talking to John in a little while and take this car for a drive. But at the price range that we are asking for this car, it's an amazing deal, because it's just you're getting a US spec CSI number 107 out of 225 for a fraction of the cost of well-kept, low mileage one. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Classic car Custodians. It does not get any better than this. Where I'm standing right now with all these amazing, beautiful cars, and it does not get any better than this gentleman here, the Custodian, Mr. John DWYER. I'm not going to tell you where we are yet, but I'll leave that up to him. But we're in a couple of states. I can say that. He's a dear friend of mine, John. We've met through BMW E31's CSIs. I had a call from him last year, and what he said, Alec, I think I'm the new owner of your old car, CSI 107. Oh, really? So we started talking, and we headed off right away. And here we are a few months later. I'm representing two of his beautiful collections, and I'm guilty of having brought about 4 of them to this collection.
You are guilty.
Every time I send him a film or a call, he's like, uh-oh, you should not have done that. Now I'm going to buy it. John, tell us about yourself, introduce yourself to our audience.
I'm not sure what to say. Like you said, my name is John DWYER. I happen to like cars. I've been fortunate over the years that I've done pretty well in business, which has allowed me to be able to collect, drive, play with, refurbish a variety of different cars. I tend to collect cars and drive cars based upon what strikes my fancy. There was a time that I actually collected them for value and for kind of a theme, but over the years I've changed, and I've really gone to things that I think would be fun to drive and fun for other people to drive. So my collection is eclectic, to say the least. It's whatever I like at the time. Somebody asked me a couple days ago, what's my favorite car? And my answer is always the same. The last one I bought.
Great.
Okay. In this case, it was an E31 from you.
Oh, yeah. Very true.
198.
198. Oh, that's amazing. The only one in this country, white on, full-on blood red inside. One of my friends called me and said, "What happened? Did you explode a ketchup bottle in there?" Or something? Like, no. But then when John saw it in person, it just looks amazing. It's beautiful.
Yes, it's not nearly as red as the photographs lead you to believe.
No,
it's more of a
yeah.
burgundy color or
It
deep
is.
red. Yep.
It is.
Yep.
Your younger days, when you started loving cars, got your license, what was your favorite car at the time? What was your first car?
Well, I'll tell you one story that I remember that probably started me more than anything. I collected and was given, I always wanted cars, and what I particularly wanted was a Thunderbird. And when I was about 13 years old, my grandmother bought me a matchbook Thunderbird, 1957 T-Bird. And she said, "Here, I want you to have this because this is as close as you'll ever get to having one of these." And it hurt my feelings. It really did. It hurt my feelings. I guess I've always had a big ego, but it was kind of like, wait a minute, why can't I have one of these? So over time, I always thought in the back of my mind I would have a Thunderbird. And so literally the very first car I purchased was a 1956 Ford Thunderbird.
I'm sure.
And I still have one. I have it in storage in our other location. That's immaculate and perfect, and it'll probably be the last car I ever part with, simply because she said that to me when I was much younger. Well, I guess you'd characterize me as a typical American muscle car guy. My brothers worked at the Ford Motor Company plant in Kansas City, which is the area that I grew up. So I was always growing up as a Ford guy. But I was partial to Chevys too, and I guess today you'd have to say that I'm kind of I'm an eclectic collector. I buy stuff that I like, so if it's Ford or Chevy, I might buy it. Back here we have, for example, a Division II GT350 Shelby up there. on the racks. It's a great car, but I also have a hot rodded 1966 Chevelle back here that I love too, that we stuck the 572 in. I have a station wagon over there, a Nomad, that we put a Duramax diesel in, and we call it the Nomax because it's got a diesel inside of it. So it's just a variety of things, and we like it. I actually also didn't, when I was younger, couldn't afford very many cars, so I grew up riding motorcycles. So I have a bigger collection of motorcycles than I do cars, because I just think motorcycles are cool.
Nice. There's a big difference between what we're looking at right now versus some of the old American muscle cars. Why the E31 8 Series? Why the CSIs and the 6 speeds? How did you fall in love with these?
Well, I actually liked, I had a friend who, many of my friends when I went to high school turned out to be doctors. And it seems like the BMW is a doctor's car. And one of my friends...
Most of the original owners of these cars were doctors.
Right. One of my friends bought a white version of this car, an 850, that he gave to his wife. And so that was my first exposure to a BMW. I wasn't entirely certain because I grew up made in America, and didn't think that I should buy anything that wasn't made in America. As I said, my brothers were both very much union guys, and that was instilled in me that we protected our jobs. It's not that I don't believe in that today, it's that I began to realize there were a lot of other cool cars. And the first one that caught my attention, believe it or not, was a BMW E39. And I have one of those right there, a low mileage E39. And I bought one when it first came out. I drove that car and I fell in love with BMWs. So from that, I started kind of working backwards, saying, you know, I think I'll get some of these BMWs and start driving them. And I followed these cars principally because of Bring a Trailer and you when I saw some of your films. And I saw this one, and I happened to see that it was for sale again. And so from that, I talked to the guy and ended up making an arrangement to buy it, and that's when I called you. I drove it, and I loved it. And I loved it so much, my son says he doesn't understand what goes on with me, but I buy one, I tend to buy 2 or 3. And then I end up going through them until I find exactly the one I really like. And typically then I might sell the others because I finally found the one that is the one that fits me perfectly. The truth is I like them all, so it's just a justification and probably has more to do with excess.
You just want to give me more work.
Yeah, that's right.
But hey, I'm not complaining. I get to be around these cars. Probably driven about 50 or 60 different CSIs and well over 100 different E31s. They all feel different. They all are good in their own way, but there's small little this and that with each and every one's. One the clutch is like this, or one the brake is like this. Or, there's always something you can tell. But in general, they're modern, they look good, and anywhere I go, anywhere I drive, people thumbs up or ask me about it.
I agree.
John, tell me why you're passing on to the next custodian, because you're a great custodian for these, and I had to, I spoke to you about them. You bought them right away on the phone. So,
well, let's see. First of all, I'm lucky and I'm blessed that I can play with these cars. Secondly, I really don't have any issues that I have to complain about that aren't luxury. I'm very fortunate that way. Thirdly, I have a wife, and she says, why would you buy 3 or 4 of these? And the answer is because I like them. She said, well, maybe you could just have a couple. So because I agreed to that and had bought so many, I finally found one of them that I really like, 198, the white on red. There's just something about that white color with the red that speaks to me and it pops. So for that reason, I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and reduce the number of cars that I have, assuming that I can find the right custodian for them, because I'll be glad to keep them myself. Yeah. But if there's somebody who will love them as much as I do and can play with them, they will. And as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of room here, and I have cars in 2 other locations, and I'd kind of like to get them all in one place, so it'd be a little bit easier to play with them consistently. Okay. So that's the reason.
Great. 107 will be going with me to California, so it can be viewed over there. This one, 31, will probably stay here for a little while, unless this one goes to a new home. I might bring this one to California as well to be able to show it to potential clients and future custodians. We'll see. But look at these 2 cars. This one has 100,000 more miles than that one. And it looks like it just came out of the factory. It all shows if you take care of a car, I mean, you and I have seen a 316,000 mile E31 as well. And
Right.
how did that look to you?
It
You
looked
said
great.
looked great.
Yeah.
Almost brand new.
Yeah.
So it has to do with how you take care of your car, how you, when you service it, when it needs it, and if you let it go, it's gonna. It doesn't matter if it's 30,000 or 130,000. It's gonna look like trash. We're lucky to be with a group of people who actually love and care for these cars. They're not just utilities, they're actual parts of their family. And that's what I love. That's the bridge I can build between the different custodians, because they share the same boyhood dreams that they had, and they share the same passion about these cars. They're not just cars. A to B is about the drive in between. It's not from A to B. It's about the drive. And the friendships between them. I didn't know who John was up until a year ago. He had no idea who I was, but these cars brought us together, and now we're friends. We can hang out, we can talk, we eat, we do everything, and we can do business together, and we don't have to do business together. We can just hang out and just talk about cars.
And enjoy cars. Yep.
Yeah. So, looking forward to getting these cars to you guys, and I'm really hoping the next person that we find is going to treasure and cherish this love car with pure passion and love. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Take care. Thanks for your help.